Integrity is telling myself the truth, and honesty is telling the truth to other people. Honesty flows through all of us. It allows us to make connections with each other that are built on a foundation of trust. However, I believe that we're getting less and less honest with each other, whether intentionally or not. Today, I want to hold one word responsible, a word we all use in so many different situations that is destroying this level of connection. The word to blame? Maybe. Defined in the dictionary as a mere possibility or probability. This simple 5-letter word that we all are using more than ever. The different definitions associated with the word, dishonesty when using it, and personal harm due to it are why I want to remove maybe from the dictionary. First, we see a disconnect in how we use language when we each have different definitions for certain words. This could leave a conversation at a place where neither group properly understands. I mean, can any of you properly say what maybe means? In the dictionary, it is defined as perhaps, possibility. Now that still is pretty vague. Define possibility, and you get a thing that may happen or be the case. Define may, and you get back to expressing possibility. It's an endless loop. I think this may be one of the reasons why we see this disconnect. The definitions and even the words themselves are so vague that none of us really know what we're talking about. I decided to ask as many people as I could how they define maybe, in hopes of finding a more universal meaning. However, though, it seems that really there isn't a common meaning for this word. I don't know what maybe means to you, but these were the answers I received. As you can see, they're all quite different from each other, and these were the most common ones. Let's try some of them out and see how it would work. When I don't want to do something, but I don't want to reject the idea right away. Hey, do you want to go to the movies on Saturday? Maybe. If one is unsure about the answer to another's question. Okay, question 5. What's the capital of Spain? That's Barcelona, right? Maybe? When I want to say yes, but I don't actually want to say yes, and admit to saying yes. Hey, do you want some chips? Maybe. When this happens, we aren't intentionally being dishonest. It's more of a subconscious issue. Now, we see this in some other cases when we each have different meanings for certain words. Now, when I say biscuit, what do you imagine? For me, I picture this fluffy biscuit. However, since moving to Europe, I've learned that apparently the word can name any of these desserts. Now, I'm not saying mixing up these desserts could be a huge problem, but I think one of the reasons it's not a larger problem is because we've identified that the word can have these different meanings, and we're aware of the issue. With maybe, I don't think this is an issue we've properly identified, and one that we need to look more into so that all the sides can be clarified. Instead of just a few different desserts, misinterpreting maybe doesn't allow for a connection between two people. Now, another reason I've seen that we often use maybe is when we want to say no, but we don't want to hurt the other person. However, I believe that actually this is counterproductive. Forgetting about yes, if the options are delaying and leading someone on, versus being straight to the point. Which would you guys prefer? I know I would rather the honest approach. This is where hard yes and hard no come in. Now, I don't want any confusion, so what I mean by this is that you should answer clearly and concisely. This allows you to reject if you need to, but do it in a nice way. Let's see some more examples. Now, we certainly wouldn't want this. Will you marry me? No. Why not? I thought you loved me. Just not really feeling it. Instead, this could be a better approach. Will you marry me? I'm sorry, you're a great person, but I can't marry you. Now, I'm not saying that's the right way to reject a proposal, but it's much better to let the person down nicely than blatantly saying no. And much better than this approach. Will you marry me? Maybe? In many cases, saying maybe actually hurts the person more than a clear no would. Honesty is so important and something we all treasure. So by lying to protect someone, you're only hurting them even more and breaking any trust between the two of you. Don't get me wrong, you still can let someone down nicely, but the important part is that you're honest with them. A maybe doesn't help anyone, and in cases like this, would leave the situation in a very strange place. Now you may be thinking, but Chelsea, some things can't just be a yes or no right away. And I definitely agree. There can be benefit to taking time to weigh your options. That being said, instead of just buying time with a simple 1 or 2-word answer, you need to add more clarity to your responses. Phrases like this weekend, after Monday, once I. This allows you more time to decide and doesn't let the other person sit around waiting. We certainly wouldn't want this. Hey, I was sick on Tuesday. Can I take the test tomorrow at lunch to catch up? Maybe, but does that work for you? I'm not sure. This doesn't help anyone. Let's try it again with the added clarity. Hey, I was sick on Tuesday. Can I take the test tomorrow at lunch to catch up? I'm not sure if tomorrow will work, but I'll let you know at the end of the day. Just by adding a bit more clarity, you can turn a useless maybe into just a bit of a delayed response. Now, the other way maybe is negatively affecting us is in our own growth, the personal maybe. When you're in a conversation, you have the other person there to hold you accountable. But when it comes to your own decision making, it's just you. Now, I did gymnastics when I was younger. I wasn't extremely good at it, but it was something I enjoyed. Now, I never was able to do the splits. I know, can you imagine a worse problem for a 6-year-old? I dropped gymnastics soon after, but there always was a part of me that wished I had been able to do the splits. I decided to use my talk tonight as the perfect opportunity to get something I'd always wanted, but never pushed myself to really accomplish. I knew I had to show all of you what it was like when you stop saying maybe and when you go all in. That's when I came up with the 20-day splits challenge, or as I later called it, 20 days of torture for a 30-second story. And yet, I did it. 20 days ago, I spent 30 minutes stretching and have once a day since then. Now, I definitely would be lying if I said there weren't times when I wanted to give up. I mean, we were in the car traveling Europe for 11 out of the 20 days. And yet, I still found time and pushed through. And I can tell you it all paid off because... And... The reason I was successful was because I had lots of sources holding me accountable. When you're young, you have your parents to look after you. But as you age, this support starts disappearing, and you need to build your own support system to hold you up. I had to use this event and all of you here in the audience and watching online to hold me accountable. Plus the fact that the story really wouldn't have worked if I failed. Personal maybes get in your way and waste your time, especially with important decisions like maybe I should go to the gym, maybe I should go outside, maybe I should see my friends, maybe I should visit my mom, or maybe I should just sit here. In order to actually get anything done, you need to stop saying the word altogether and go all in your own life. Now, I understand it may be hard for some of us to immediately get rid of our maybe safety blanket. But until you're able to, you need to find other outlets to hold you accountable until you can hold yourself up. Now, you may be thinking, sure, this could all be true, but how do I actually stop saying the word? You need to cut it completely out of your vocabulary. I mean, imagine if you're a vegetarian and you go out to eat one night. Hello, what can I get for you? Do you make it clear that you're a vegetarian? Hello, I'm a vegetarian. Do you have any veggie burgers? Or do you? I'll just take a burger, please. When you go out to eat, you make it clear what you can't eat, and maybe should be the same thing. You need to make it clear to people how much you dislike the word. And when you start using it less and less, instead using a hard yes or hard no, or added clarity, the people you're talking to will catch on and might even start doing the same. Then you'll finally be able to have beneficial conversation for the both of you. Maybe. Defined in my dictionary as a response lacking thought that when used in a conversation unnecessarily holds both parties from moving forward and makes the relationship that of a dishonest one. Maybe is a word that is so relevant to all of our lives, and more importantly, our futures. In order to move forward, we need to stop saying the word. The dishonesty caused by it, different definitions for it, and personal harm associated with it are why I want to remove maybe from the dictionary. Without the word, we finally could live an honest life where we would have more clarity and understanding between all of us. As I said, in order to move forward, we need to stop saying the word and understand why a hard yes or a hard no is much better. Now, it's your turn. I'm done talking. How are you going to make changes in your life to get rid of this word and the need for it? Without each and every one of us making some kind of change, this problem won't go away. So will you? And finally, how do you think your life would be different if you stopped saying maybe and went all in? Thank you for listening.